What up, everyone? I am Gio. I am the guest host. I am not Jacob. Welcome to Apocaflix Now, the movie hangout show. Thank you so much for joining us for the Thursday edition. My name again is Gio. I'm joined by Jake Berlin and Brian Avalosino. How you doing, buddy? How you guys doing?
Brian, it says I can't unmute you. Unmute your mic.
This guy.
So it's funny. Obviously, Gio's hosting tonight. We're gonna start the show off like this. Whatever, I don't care. I unmuted my mic when I was supposed to unmute your mic at the beginning of the show. It's just one of those nights, man.
It's okay. Everything's out of whack. Okay.
Amateur hour tonight.
You know, it's unfortunately Jacob couldn't join us. He has some family in town, and please, whenever you guys have a chance, spend time with family always. Keith will be joining us a little bit later. But yes, as teased from the last Apocaflix Now, we are doing a full-on spoiler for The Boys Season 2 on Amazon Prime. Look at that right there. That is exactly what that show is. A whole bunch of craziness and just violence and R-rated superheroes, nudity,
laser baby,
other stuff. It is nuts. Yeah, so we're going to get into that, full-on spoilers. But first, Jake, do we have anything else that we need to take care of first?
We sure do. Next Friday on October 30th here on the channel, we'll be doing our next watch-along, our October watch-along. Oh, Keith is popping in real quick. Let me go ahead and bring him in before we announce our watch-along. Mr. Keith Barnes. Mr. Keith Barnes.
Keith, what's up, man?
Hello. What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Some technical difficulties. Doing good.
You're good, dude. You're good.
It's all good, baby. It's all good.
Yeah, so we're going to announce our watch-along right now. We obviously all picked a movie, and we picked from 5 different streaming services because that's how it works. There's 5 of us, 5 major services. Why not? But we leave the vote up to you guys. We let you decide on what we're going to be watching. And so next week on Friday, October 30th.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I need a prayer. Lord, help me to get through this.
I'll get out of here.
So,
Right.
yeah, so 5. So look, we had probably the most votes we've ever gotten. We got 124 votes on this poll. There were a lot of votes on this poll.
Ridiculous.
And it was spread pretty crazy over the 5. So one of them was 10%, 31%, 13%, 10%, and 37%. So it was really a two-headed race from the beginning. The winner kind of pulled away this weekend. A lot more people found it this weekend. And so next Friday at 6 p.m., Keith's going to be real happy about this one. The movie that we're going to be watching is Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Edition.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes,
Good.
guys. You guys picked the right movie. Let me tell you, this is going to be our most entertaining, informative, controversial watch-along yet. Okay? There's going to be some blood that will be spilled over the internet, over the chat room. Okay? So grab your popcorn, grab your favorite drink, write down some notes.
You might need a few drinks.
Get ready.
I'm going to need a few. I'm going to have a whole bottle of whiskey with me.
This is going to be so much fun.
Look. Yeah, so, and you'll see this. The time is still to kind of be determined, but because the Ultimate Edition of this movie is 3 hours, we're going to have to go a little bit earlier than we normally do. So we'll probably start the movie around like 6:30-ish, and Keith will be able to pop in as soon as he's home. But I mean, I'm not going to want to go until like 11:30 because the movie is so long. So we're going to start a little early. We're giving you guys a heads up now, but it is on Friday, not Thursday. Friday, we're doing our watch-alongs on Friday because of work, and because of this reason, movies sometimes get a little long. We don't want to go into the work day the next day.
Yeah, Brian has a bed.
So yeah. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Cut, which is available on HBO Max, obviously, and we'll be watching it here on YouTube.
We held it off.
What do you guys think?
We held it off. We held off Gio as long as we possibly could.
Look, and full disclosure here, Brian and I tried to sabotage the hell out of this.
Excuse me.
I wanted
Wait, what do you mean you tried to sabotage
No,
it?
we have a couple accounts, obviously, with Apocaflix, my own, and POV, and we voted with all of them on Nightmare Before Christmas, but it was never going to win.
Okay.
It was never going to win.
Okay, let me come clean then.
Oh, no!
Over the weekend, I did call on the Snyder Cut fandom movement to represent yet again.
Wow!
And pick the right movie. So appreciate you guys. We did it. We made Snyder Cut happen. We're making
we had voter fraud.
We're gonna watch along happen.
So we've had voter.
He's done.
Voter fraud.
The host is done for the night.
Hey, excuse me. He's not that much innocent either.
Right?
Excuse me. I didn't call to a huge community. I did 3 or 4 accounts on my own.
Okay.
Russian interference.
Let me put this out there too. This was the best part. He put it in our POV Discord, like saying, like, "Hey, this might win." It backfired beyond belief. It was at 31%.
Oh my goodness!
After he put it in there, it went to 37%. So if anything, Jake made it even more of a distance.
Yeah, but when Brian's saying that, I didn't literally go say, "Hey, don't go vote for BVS."
No,
I was like, Nightmare Before Christmas would be a really cool holiday movie to watch, and they're like, "F that, we're watching BVS."
Yeah, it literally shot up 6% from it, and we went. Well,
I will say this though, I didn't call on a huge fandom though. That's real tampering.
That's
right
a smart
there.
move.
That's Houston Astros tampering right there.
No, that's promoting the Apocaflix channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That's like when Yao Ming came to NBA and he was rookie year and he made the All-Star game because all of China voted for him in the All-Star game.
What's funny is Jake and I were talking. We're like, it really is weird how there's 124 votes. Like,
yeah,
how did it get this high? What type of sorcery did Gio pull off to like summon the Batman?
Hey,
God,
I got worried. Okay, I saw Nightmare Before Christmas creeping up, and I was like, no way, no, we got okay. Like,
that makes so much more sense, and that makes it that much.
I wonder
better.
what Jacob's gonna say about this.
Hey, real quick, Keith. Are you excited for this, man?
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this. Yeah,
Keith can't wait to shit on this movie.
Absolutely. No, listen, I'll be fair.
Almost had him.
I'll be fair. You can always get me. Look, there's some good stuff in it. I'll be fair, but the stuff that's stupid and there's a lot of it. I'm gonna smack it around.
I'm gonna be right there beside you. Okay, we won't have any problem with the copyright or whatnot. Because they won't even be able to hear the movie.
Yeah,
we're going to be talking.
Yes.
Well, guys, you heard it from Jake Berlin. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition, the real edition, is what we will be watching next Friday. So definitely tune in. We will have a firm start time for you as we get closer to the date. So definitely do join us for that. Now, it is time to get down to business. We are talking The Boys Season 2 spoilers, full-on spoilers. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't finished it, if you haven't even heard of it,
spoiler alert.
Get away.
Yes.
I appreciate you tuning in, but this is full-on spoilers for The Boys Season 2. Now, fellas, before we get into our general thoughts, I mean, I think we can all agree the first season for The Boys was an absolute surprise. It was a success. It was so much fun. It was everything that you would imagine, like if superheroes really had no limits and if corporate America had special interest in these superheroes and just a whole bunch of, crazy, absolute mayhem.
It was the realest take on superheroes in our world that we've seen.
Yes.
No sugarcoating.
So,
none at all.
Yeah, no.
Not even coding, nothing.
So, real quick, anybody can start, but I want to start off and just ask you guys, what were your expectations going in? did this season meet those expectations? And your overall thoughts? Who wants to start?
I'll go and start. I think I will say that the show definitely met my expectations because there weren't as many like twists and turns as the first one had. There was a lot of like WTF moments in the first season, and maybe it was because of the way that it was released. Obviously, the first season was released in binge fashion. This one was released in a typical TV show fashion. So maybe that has something to do with it. But the thing that I think why it met my expectations is because it answered all the questions I had. It answered everything I needed to know about certain characters. It answered the Becca Butcher stuff, more stuff about Vought, but it also created a lot more questions that are going to lead down the road, obviously. And because it is spoiler, the stuff with the Nazis, and essentially that Vought is bred from the Nazis, and it was created by the Nazis. And obviously we know that Stormfront is a Nazi, and that's why she had been around for so long, and that she was the first ever soup. I keep forgetting that they're called soups. She was the first soup, and she's gone by many different names, and she was married to Vought, but she was part of the Nazi party, and that creates an enormous amount of tree branches going forward because they can go in a lot of different directions. And we already know that in season 3, one of those is going to be Jensen Ackles, because his character fought in World War II, his soup character, Soldier Boy, I think his name. Yeah. Soldier Boy, yeah. Which is going to be super cool. And I guess the first episode of season 3 is actually going to be a flashback. So we're already seeing dividends from everything happening in season 2 happen. But as far as like a lot of the other characters, I was very happy. Huey is a great character, and his character grew a lot in this season. And we saw him go in different directions. The Starlight stuff was great because again, it answered questions I was having, and it kind of just led into more stuff. Everything at Billy Butcher was great. Giancarlo Esposito coming in there was awesome.
Yeah,
such a great, like, how many times can we see him as a villain and not be awed by him? Like, it's just so perfect. You
can never be upset when he turns out to be the villain.
Exactly.
Every time.
And I can't wait to see what happens with him in season 3, obviously, because he will be back. And then the big one, the Homelander and that stuff. And I was happy. I think that the only question mark and maybe just kind of like meh part of it all was the stuff with the Deep and A-Train. I wasn't completely satisfied with that, but I think the reason why is because it's going to play major roles in season 3. And that happens with television shows, right? This almost feels like a second act of a 3-part movie, with season 1 being the first act, season 2 being the second act, and maybe it kind of finishes off in season 3 and beyond. But I was very satisfied and happy. And I think that I'm a typical television guy where I like episode by episode. And so I enjoyed the way they did it. But yeah, there was some mind-boggling stuff in this season. I'm sure we'll get into it too. So
yeah, to your point, Jake, we did get a lot of questions answered, especially with Vought, because you just think in the back of your mind, these superheroes could easily take over if they wanted to, but no, that's clearly not the case. It's not that black and white. So I'm definitely happy on that front. And to your point, again, the Deep, I felt the same way. It seemed like it was going somewhere, but then it quickly went nowhere. And it was just like, well, do we really need that? But I'm sure season 3, they didn't do it for nothing. The show tends to, go back and tie up loose ends, so to speak, and fill in plot holes. So, Brian, do you share the same thoughts mostly? Do you have any different thoughts? Was there any superheroes that stood out to you, like any in particular?
So, I mostly agree. It's weird. This put me in a position I've never been before. I typically am someone that enjoys it being spread out. I like to be able to enjoy it for longer. Although I found myself almost forgetting some stuff by it being spread out. So I don't know. I kind of, for the first time, I feel like I almost didn't like it being spread out.
Spread out, you mean not bingeable?
Yes. Which I've never been in that position before. Because, I mean, like, Mandalorian, love that it's spread out. Do not give me that all at one time. WandaVision, when that comes out, spread out. Do not give me that all at one time. But for whatever reason, this time I wasn't happy about it. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around it to the point where I'm probably honestly going to go rewatch the whole season in one binge. But regardless of that, I mean, the show's fantastic. It's one of the most genius things to ever be put on TV, especially in the time that we're in right now. They struck while the iron was hot. Like, if superheroes were not as insanely popular as it is right now, one could say it could not be as big as it is. But the fact that superhero culture is in absolutely every facet of like everything, it seems like, it's funny. It's hilarious because this is exactly how things would go down in real life if these a-holes were in charge of things. Like 100%. It's just so funny, and I think that's what makes it so good is that it's so like real with its not realness. But so for me, I loved, and we can talk about this further into it, but the thing that I found myself loving the most was Stormfront. Like, her character,
she was great.
So good. Like, I was just like so intrigued by her from the very beginning. Like, she comes in as like this superhero that doesn't care. Like, she's there, and then all of a sudden her story is getting bigger, and then more stuff happens. Then she starts doing some things that you're like, whoa, that's not what I was expecting her character to ever do. I thought she was going to end up being this like kind of like Starlight-ish type character, and it just, her character and the actress that portrayed her, best part of the whole season for me.
Ava Cash.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was fan-freaking-tastic, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. So, because I'm sure we're gonna revisit her, but I will say, as far, and I've not read the comics. I want to really bad, but I do not want things to get spoiled. So I'm gonna wait till the boys is done before I go and reread them. If I'm predicting something right, do not spoil it for us. But I it's funny because you guys said you didn't really care for the Deep and A-Train stuff. I actually did like that because I think there's going to be a lot more with that. I think, and I'm making a prediction. Again, I know nothing of this of the comic books. I think the Deep is going to take over that little Scientology type thing.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I'm very curious, and is it Chase or Chance Crawford? Chase Crawford.
Chase Crawford.
He's so freaking funny as that character, as the douchebag. Like, it's just, yeah. I'm very curious to see where his story goes. But yeah, my ultimate highlight was Stormfront the whole entire season. She stole the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. They definitely made it fun to hate her, and that's just how the character was written. For every episode, it's just like, man, I can't stand this girl. And to your point, also, Brian, this whole series, has a large ensemble. There are so many characters. Mandalorian has a handful, but this one, you got 7. You got the side characters. You got the corporate people. You got the people trying to fight the superheroes outside of the boys. There's a lot going on in here. Keith, your thoughts on The Boys season 2?
Well, you guys have been trying to get me on this since last year when the
Yes, we have.
So I actually I watched both. I watched all of it, both season 1 and 2, over this past week.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Good for you.
And as good as advertised, as everybody's been saying. Excuse me. I have a friend of mine that has the books, and so I have skimmed through some of them before. I was a little aware, or I thought I was. I was gonna say, Brian, I think you could probably read some of it because the series is way different.
It's funny that you said that because I did watch. It's fun. This morning when I woke up, I went on YouTube, and it was like 10 things so far that is different from what it is, and I was like, "Oh, it is got some very drastic."
I had read something, and it sounds like the creators of the show are going to take a very different path. Going forward.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot. There's a lot of changes. They deviate a lot from the comics.
Yeah,
similar to Umbrella Academy. Does the same. Does the same thing. For example, I mean, Stormfront in the comics is a man. For one thing. And a bunch of other stuff. There's stuff about Homelander and stuff too as well that we'll talk about. But
and I did hear the Black Noir.
What he is in the comics, which that still may be true in the what we're spoiling. So spoiler in the comics, Black Noir is a clone of Homelander. That may actually still be true. We don't know about him yet, so it remains to be seen.
That would be wild.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that because like when they take his that scene where
she shoves the almond joy in his mouth.
Yeah.
But his face he's got like this. He's like
Deadpool.
Like Deadpool, yeah. That's the first thing I thought. It's like, man, he looks like he's been all burned.
Well, and I think the reason why I don't think they're going to do that, I think the callback to that moment or to that in the comics was the cabin scene with Homelander, where he has the other Scoop who can clone. Right. And we saw the two Homelanders standing one-on-one with each other. Yeah. I think that was probably a callback to that in the comics, and they're going to go away from that.
Probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
What a disturbing scene.
Well, and I think they're clearly establishing Homelander.
It's one thing to love yourself, but...
Right. Yeah, right.
Great cameo by Elizabeth Shue, though. Great cameo.
Yeah. So that's the thing I was going to point out just from season 1, because I haven't talked about that, but I had no idea she was on that show. So I was like, oh,
she's so good.
Yeah. I know people are talking about trying to whether or not she's going to pop up on Cobra Kai or not.
Oh, yes, she is, Keith. Yes, she is.
Is she going to? I don't know.
100% she is. 100%.
Okay. Is she, or is that just Jake, little Jake Brilliant fan?
I'm officially part of the Cobra. Elizabeth Shue is going to be in season 3.
She should. I don't see why not. I mean,
you heard it here first.
His mom's on there, right? Isn't the lady that played his mom, Daniel's
mom? Well, the way season 3 ended, or season 2 ended, there was someone threw a phone on the beach.
Heavily implied.
And there was a phone call, and it was her name on the phone.
So, okay, wow.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, yeah.
Spoiler.
Love Elizabeth Shue.
This is a spoiler review of everything.
Spoiler review.
Yeah.
Everything in the world.
I hope you did not just piss off someone really bad at the end of that.
Whatever.
Bruce Willis is a ghost. But yeah.
Wait, what? No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's great series. Great, both seasons, I should say. Love the cast, love all of them. The obvious. I felt like someone went back in time. Like, I think this show was created. The TV show was clearly created by a time traveler, someone who has been in current 2020 and then went back in time and said, "All right, this is what we're gonna do," because so much of it is spot on.
Yeah, right.
That is like, oh my gosh, that's what's happening right now in the world and in politics and socially. Just it's social media, and then it's I'm watching it and I was getting a little like kind of uncomfortable, like, oh my gosh, like the only thing separating it is that there's people with superpowers. Like, that's the only difference between this and real life right now. But the political commentary and social commentary it's right there. It's not even that subtle. Like it's pretty upfront. And even some of the religious commentary as well. But yeah, it's great, man. You guys, I mean, you know, I'm glad I got in. I was trying to get in before season 2 started, but I'm glad I was able to, you know, watch it. I like that it was released weekly, you know, or stuff like Mandalorian or the Marvel shows coming up. Like I like that stuff because, you know, it gives everyone something to talk about every week. And even though I did binge all of this just now because I waited till the end, which I enjoyed. But still, it was fun to get it all in at once. But I think it would be. I look forward to that format. I like that with these shows going week to week with it. But it was great. It was great. That's all I can say. I really like Huey. I love how Simon Pegg is his dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in the comics, it's Simon Pegg.
Basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like it's clearly him. Like I remember seeing a picture of him when they were talking about the show was coming out. And I'm like, well, it's going to be Simon Pegg.
It's not literally him, Gio. The character is drawn to. It literally looks just like Simon.
Yeah. They use Simon Pegg as a kind of like what they did back in early 2000s with Nick Fury. They made him look like Samuel L. Jackson, which was like, okay, well, clearly it's going to be, if they ever put him in movies, it's going to be Samuel L. Jackson. You know, it was the same thing here, but this came out, I think it was like 07 or something. And I think at that time, he probably would have done it. He could have been Huey then. And he's a little bit too old now, but I'm glad I got him in as his dad. That was really good. But not in season 2 though. So which is kind of, I wouldn't mind seeing him pop up. I know it didn't have a big role. I really like Huey a lot. He's like he's not necessarily the point. It's kind of the point of view, I guess you could say. But
I would say it is. I would definitely say it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of goes between being his story and Carl Urban.
Billy Butcher.
Billy Butcher. Right. Yeah. Right here. It's her name.
Just look at Jake's screen.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's right here on my screen. Yeah, Billy Butcher, I love him so much.
He's too perfect.
I love how he drops the C word just like it's
They do that apparently, especially
any country outside of US pretty much.
Yeah. It's like a term of endearment to them, you know, or also an insult or whatever. If you're hailing a cab, you just yell out that word. But it's funny because I just watched Thor Ragnarok last week, me and the kids, and he's doing basically that same Cockney accent.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because I wonder if, like, he's so good at it. You forget he's a New Zealand guy, but he nails that so much. Like, he really, really captures that character perfectly. They all do. Mother's Milk is great. I love him. And, like, he's me. Like because I would totally be like that, even all down to the kind of the little OCD tendencies. Like that's totally me. I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, that guy's me. Well, that's perfect. I love Frenchie.
Frenchie is my favorite.
He might be my favorite guy. I love Kimiko, of course. Is what's her name from Suicide Squad?
Karen Fukunaga.
Yeah, she's great. She's really, really great. And yeah, I love it. Loved it.
Well, let's stick with the non-superheroes for a moment. I mean, minus Kimiko, and I actually liked what they did with her story involving, you know, her background and her brother, and one of the more
dude, that Stormfront scene with her brother is
God.
It's so I'm pretty sure, I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I turned away because I can't watch that type of stuff. Yeah, and I heard it, and it sounded awful.
Yeah. It was definitely bad for sure.
What a great fight scene though, leading up to it through the building and everything. Like that's when we first got like our true experience of what Stormfront is, and that's when like the season changed because to this point she's like this pretty poster girl, and then we finally get to see her in action, and all hell breaks loose. Like she's disintegrating people. And like breaking necks and just like totally going ham. And wow.
Do you guys know what Stormfront is? Like just and this is obviously done on purpose, but Stormfront was the name of the first like major hate site on the internet.
Really?
Created by a former KKK like guy or whatever, like a big back in like the 90s. So like I saw, because I didn't watch any trailers or anything like none of that stuff. But as soon as I had no idea. I knew there was like this new character that people were talking about, but I didn't know. Like I said, I hadn't watched the series, so I didn't really watch anything about it. But she came on and they're calling her Stormfront. I'm like, wait, Stormfront? Like I've heard that before. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh, that's right. And so I knew right away what she was, what she turned out to be.
I'm glad I didn't know that because I was shocked as all hell when all that stuff went down.
And because I was thrown because it was a woman too. Because like I said, because in the comics he's a man. So I was like, well, is that the same? I didn't know it was going to be like the same concept. But as soon as I saw the name and I heard it, I was like, oh, is it the same? I didn't put it together until, and I went, oh, yeah, right. I looked it up. I was like, yeah, that's right. Because I remember hearing about that back in the day. Oh, hold on. Can you hear me?
You're good, Keith.
Yeah,
you're good.
You're fine.
Yeah, you're good.
My headphone came out. Okay. But yeah, I was just going to mention, because you're talking about the fights, but yeah, there's not a lot of, just in watching both seasons, it's not a really action heavy show for a show that's
it's all very quick. It's all very quick action pieces.
Yeah. You get just a little blast somebody with whatever their power is, and then that's kind of it,
But we got the best action piece in this season.
God damn you.
Well,
in this season?
At the very end.
The finale.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say,
jump right to that. How about that moment and what it meant for certain characters? Just talk about like female like badass empowerment. Just like
Well, into
all the guys standing there.
Well, yeah, it's honestly, look, like most of the time when you see like that type of stuff in action movies, like the guys try to find a way in. Let's be honest, we would be sitting there watching just like they would be.
100%.
Like,
sure,
duh. But
they had it.
I don't know if you guys heard, but they got the idea for that from the woman scene in Avengers Endgame of all the Avengers, all the female Avengers. Yeah, that's where that moment came from. And so they kind of created it recently, but I liked it for one specific reason. One, because it kind of brings together a group that we've been wanting to see for a while, right? With Kimiko, Starlight, and then obviously Queen Maeve. But I've been preaching from the very beginning to get more Queen Maeve involved, and we finally got to see her. I feel like she's been on the back burner for so long. True. I want to see her character go off because I think the character is super cool.
Yeah, she's different. Like my least favorite character because of that reason.
Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, and I can understand that she's not my least favorite, but she's definitely the least seen. Like she's the least seen, and it's unfortunate because I think the character is super cool. She's touted as the second in command to Homelander, but we barely see her. And I think now that moment happened, we can finally get like a full on Queen Maeve in this season or in the upcoming season because I think the actress is great and. Season 1 really kind of set her up to be like this super cool badass, but we haven't really like seen that from her. And so I'm glad she was included. And she finally stood up to Homelander obviously towards the end too, which is a really cool thing too.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Keith.
I was gonna say because in the books like they hate each other. They all hate each other, but like they really you're right. They didn't the first 2 seasons. You kind of get the foundation for all that, and they're really you're right. Towards the end of season 2, you're really starting to get to where because it seems like in the books, like I said, and it's not the books, it's a show. I know, but like it's all this stuff is all like fully established. Like there's just and all the soups. They all are just a bunch of like the 7 is a bunch of people that like I said they all hate each other and they're all constantly either blackmailing or threatening to kill each other, or sometimes they do kill
behind each other's backs, plotting.
There's a whole lot of that, which they do on the show as well. And then also, and on the side of the boys, like this one is more like it's not an origin, but like clearly they were some kind of a group before, and the stuff happened with Mallory, and they broke up or whatever with their separate ways. Because the book starts out, they're fully the boys, like they're doing the work for the CIA. And they got funding, and they got all the they're a team. The way this season ended, it looks like they're finally going in that direction. Whereas they're kind of throughout the series. They're kind of operating underground a little more. But you talk about Maeve, and I don't mean to be like hijack. I'm sorry. I'm really excited because like I said, I just watched both these seasons.
You're good, Keith. You're good.
Well, there's a reason why we didn't want to do it last week because we didn't want to be part of it.
100%. I'm so glad. Thank you guys because I was like, yeah, go ahead, I'll catch up with it. But I'm glad. I'm really glad I sat and watched them both. But the only thing that I would say is kind of a negative, not even a negative. It's a little nitpicky, but there's more humanizing of the villains than I would like, like on the show. I guess because it's TV, you kind of. It's storytelling, I guess. Like, because in the books, like, they're just jerks. Like, the old heroes are just jerks, and you don't like them, and you're kind of behind those heroes, if you want to call them that, because they're all kind of bad people too. But this one is more like we're getting stuff. Like you guys were talking about Deep. I literally fast forwarded through every single scene of Deep. I didn't care. Didn't care for any of it.
I was tempted to. You're not alone. I was tempted.
Yeah,
After a while.
I'm watching it. I'm just like, I don't care. I fast forwarded through most of that, almost all of it. The guy's really good. I think he's played well, and he does his job. This guy's certainly an a-hole, but I don't care. Didn't care about any of that story at all. It's interesting. I kind of watched just enough so I can know what's going on, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, the guys, I don't need any kind of redemption for him. Like, I don't care. Like, he's a jerk. He's selfish, like they all are. They all have got their own reasons for doing what they're doing, which are all selfishly motivated. But Maeve, I thought was interesting to me. So I know, Brian, I can certainly understand why you think maybe she's your least favorite. I can kind of understand, but I think she did get more interesting towards the end.
Oh no, I agree. I think if they didn't kind of go with the way they did with her towards the end, I would have that would have been like, yeah, she's not an important character. Like, I don't really care, but like now she's become more interesting.
Right.
Like, and I think what they failed to do with her character, and it's funny that I just watched this video this morning that literally has now made me think of a lot more things. Is apparently she's like a full-blown alcoholic in the comic book. Yeah. And so like they literally said there's not a frame in the comics where she doesn't have some type of alcohol in her hand. Right. I think that they should have done that more. Yeah. It made her be this drunk alcoholic, because then that kind of gives you a reason to why she's not there. Like,
right.
She just wasn't there because she just wasn't there.
They hinted at it in season 1.
Yeah, they hinted at it, but it wasn't like it almost should have been solidified, because then you kind of are like,
sure.
Oh, she's being drunk. Whereas you're just kind of like, what is her character doing? Like, what is she doing?
I agree.
So yeah, but no, I enjoy her more now. Her character, she finally got stuff to do.
Right.
Like, so I mean, that
to your guys' points, she definitely made an introduction in the first episode. When that truck goes right through her, and and she kind of goes in the background, for most of the first season and second season. They did touch on her, personal relationships and how they were kind of living on false hope, because it was never going to be like what they wanted it to be, especially with Homelander, in the background and all the pressure from Vought. But to see her kind of get a little bit of redemption and also be the the savior to what Homelander was about to do, it really puts a lot of pressure for her going into the third season. Maybe we do see more of that, drunk Maeve, because she's dealing with, she is Homelander's biggest enemy. It's not the boys anymore. It's her, because of what she's capable of doing. So that could be definitely a big part of season 3. But Jake, let's talk about the guy that you took the name on for this episode, Billy Butcher, the, dare I say, draw, maybe up there with Homelander as far as like what draws people to this show.
I mean, there's a reason he's in the center of this.
Right. Your overall thoughts on his character arc, what he had to deal with, and where he could go in season 3.
I mean, his arc has been very interesting. Obviously, he hates soups, and we get a good reason as to why throughout the first 2 seasons and all these episodes. His story was the most important going into the season because the way that the last season left off, it was the final shot that we saw, right, with Becca and the boy, and we finally get all that answered, and with Becca's son and where Becca's been, all those questions and everything like that.
That blew me away, by the way.
Really?
Well, about that she was still alive and that.
Oh, okay.
That blew me away. I did not see that coming because. Again, in the books, that's totally different. Like she actually is dead. But so I actually went when she showed up out of the house.
Yeah, and so I was super super happy with how the story went on with Billy Butcher, and I love his relationship with his little crew. I do like how him and Huey grew. They obviously hate each other's guts sometimes in the season, but they grew after some situations went down. Him and Mother's Milk are always great together. I like the backstory on hearing of what they did before all of this happened, right? How Frenchie messed up with Lamplighter, which great cameo.
Great. So bummed he wasn't in more.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was expecting him to be in more, but he played his role perfectly. He played his role perfectly.
He's not fireproof. Why is he not fireproof?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a great question.
I was watching like, what's he doing?
But I like all the answers we got for Billy Butcher. And I think that his path is leading him down a very, very interesting, just road. I think that where he's going to this point, I do like that his mind has kind of changed a little bit. Just a little bit on Becca's son, right? The fact that he still is a soup, but he still has some sympathy for him because he kind of sees this kid, and he sees a little bit of Becca in him and the situation that happened with Stormfront at the end and all that stuff. And obviously Becca saying, do what you need to do for him. Like you need to protect him. You need to look after him and everything like that. Mm-hmm. He could have looked after him on his own, but he's realizing, hey, I can't do this. I'm going to send him somewhere where he can probably be a lot safer and try to be a lot of a better person than I can teach him. But he also has to throw the C word in there too, which is just such a Butcher move. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. But all that story was great because we knew going into the season that a lot of it was going to revolve around Vought and Homelander and all the soups. But then you throw in the wrinkle of what Billy and Mother's Milk and all those guys did beforehand. It was a cool twist because it added levity to what was happening for those characters rather than just going after the soups. Like they have a reason for going after the soups, and we now know why. And so I like that they added that in there, and I'm interested to see where it goes in season 3. It seems like they're going to break up and they're all going to go their separate ways, but for some reason they're going to get back together like they always do. That's going to happen. And I'm excited too because it seems like it could involve people like Maeve, maybe on the side. Obviously, Starlight is involved with that, and Kimiko, and it's going to be very interesting. I will say that I did not expect to see Becca die. I did not expect to see Becca die, and not expect her to see the way that she did. Super, super heartbreaking because they had just kind of put all these pieces back together, right? And Billy had just gotten on the side of the kid, and he had turned on Giancarlo Esposito's character to save Becca and the kid, and then it all just kind of goes away. But I think that unfortunately Billy Butcher is a character of tragedy. Like tragedy just revolves around him constantly, and so that'll always be the outcome. But I'm super excited with where his character is going because it sets him up on a very cool path, and it's still very much on a head-to-head path with the soups. Like it still is, but it might just be in a different way going forward.
Yeah, talk about a conundrum for Billy Butcher. You have a kid who every time you look at him, you're reminded of Homelander and what he did.
Right.
And then the kid saves the day, but also kills the mom unintentionally. And her dying words to Billy is, forgive him and look after him. It's not his fault. And, it makes sense why he did what he did. And like, hey, somebody else needs to look after this. I'll be watching from a distance, obviously. But it makes total sense. Guys, Brian, Keith, what do you guys think about Billy Butcher in this season and going forward?
I love his character. Carl Urban can literally do no wrong. Even the character. Like,
you got to watch Dread, Brian.
I know. It's on my list. I'm probably going to do it this weekend.
That last week.
I know. And the week before. I'm very curious to see how this goes because the kid is essentially gone. He's under the protection, but I feel like he's gone, but it's not the last we're going to see of him.
Definitely not.
Yeah. So
I don't mean to chime in, but does anybody feel like there's going to be a time jump?
Yes.
I thought about it.
Maybe the kid's a little older.
Like
2 years,
like 14 or 16 or something.
Yeah, and like he's kind of honing into his powers a little bit more, and that's when it kind of comes in.
It'll be like Superboy or something like that.
I think they might do one more season before they do that. We'll see, because you guys said it yourself. It's the second act, and I don't know, maybe third act would kind of work better if it were following up.
That's true. Sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I could see next season being about a year ahead.
That's I would probably that would make more sense. Yeah, I would think so. Things calm down for a while.
Yeah, but I'm just curious to see how things go. Like Butcher's reasons are kind of like gone at this point. Like he wanted Becca. She's now dead. He would have killed the son, but he can't because he made her a promise. What is there really that he's gonna do? What's gonna trigger him now to come back in the folds? I could see him just like being an asshole and going around and just killing like crappy superheroes. Just him doing that. Like if they showed me like a year of like if the series takes place in season 3 like a year ahead, like if you show me that Carl Urban's just like going around killing like shitty superheroes for the past year, I'll laugh my ass off because like that would just be so funny. Just him just like he doesn't have anything to do, so he's just killing off these crappy superheroes.
I was gonna say like that stupid Archer, but he died. He got his head exploded.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, quickly, I want to say something, and then I want your quick reaction, and then Keith, you could talk about Billy Butcher. But Brian, on that note, I think maybe where we find Billy next depends on Huey, because at the end, Huey unknowingly is working for, dare I say, the Phantom Menace. I mean, what's her? She was the one in control of all the exploding heads and was
that courtroom
pulling the strings. So, what do you think about like, maybe something happens with Huey and then he has to come back?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Butcher finds something out and tries to go help Huey, and Huey's just like, no, you're crazy, but really Huey is wrong and Butcher's right, and maybe shows him a way. That's a good point.
He has to prove Huey wrong. Yeah.
Because I mean, Huey's probably gonna, be like, my life is finally back to normal, and then here comes Butcher back to ruin it again. But really, Butcher is trying to save him. That'd be a good twist because those two always kind of butt heads. Mm-hmm. So that's a good point. I like that, Gio.
Yeah. Keith, your thoughts on Billy the Butcher?
Well, super quick, just to go off of that. See, I predicted it'll go the other way. See, I think because Huey is working for a soup and doesn't know it, he might find out about her somehow or find out some stuff, and maybe Huey's the one that's going to go try to get the team back together.
That can be true.
Because clearly, and by the way, and this woman is another role that they gender switched, because in the comics it's a man, but which is very interesting. That they gender swapped a lot of these roles, which is cool. It's noticeable, but clearly she's AOC. You know, it's so as soon as I saw her, and she's AOC from the Bronx. Oh my gosh, it's so obvious. Like, but is she a villain, or is she like it's so I don't know. We don't know what. Obviously, she was exploding all these heads. I think that the guy, the Vought guy that's in the wheelchair, I forgot his name. Like clearly he was gonna like maybe potentially expose her, you know, and
He could have,
you know, and that's why she killed him and anybody else in that room that might have, including the church of the what's the church of the whatever, the guy from ER.
Yeah.
Killed him because he probably had info on her.
You want a Fresca? Ah, damn it! That's what my name should have been. I'm gonna change
early on.
The Collective.
The Collective.
The Church Collective. Yeah, there you go. Church Collective. Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious to see where we're going to go with that. She is the one that killed Jennifer Esposito in the first episode. That completely shocked me. And we never got any idea what happened. Like who did that? So
goes back to what I said. They go back and tie up the loose.
Right. Yeah. Totally. But Billy Butcher, though, you guys hit on some great points, obviously, about him. The thing that I found interesting, though, is that, see, I think that, Brian, you asked, like, well, what's he going to do next? Because, like, his motivations are gone, which you're right. But also, I think one of the things that they show, especially later on, is, like, you get the backstory about, like, his dad, right? And, like, his brother obviously committed suicide. And they were both abused as kids and treated terribly. So it's like, I felt like it's, like they do a good job of showing like he's not just this way because he hates soups and because of what happened to his wife. Like he just had a terrible upbringing. He would probably be this way anyway.
His father,
you know, right? Because of his father stuff and just the way he grew up, and he's just this hard-nosed, just completely just a super hard heart, you know, and just kind of is angry at everything and essentially like you couple that with the way Homelander was raised, like they're kind of the same guy, not completely, but they're not that far off, you know. And so I think that just that anger is there, regardless. Even now, especially now that his wife is actually gone, you know, and I think he won't be out of it for too long. You know, we know that. Like there's no question he'll be back in the fight pretty quickly. But I was gonna say I don't know if the kid actually killed the mom. I'm not sure if that injury came from him because she didn't have any burn marks on her. And I looked at this, like I was like, well, I don't know that I think that Stormfront, if she had that grip on her neck, and I think that when the kid, because they didn't show it, and I think that was done on purpose. They kind of leave it a little ambiguous because Stormfront was going to kill her anyway. I think that when Stormfront hit her, when the kid hit Stormfront, I think that maybe the force of that kind of, I don't know. I think they wanted to look like the kid did it. But like I said, there didn't seem to be any like burns on her. And I think that they want to leave that ambiguous because we don't just kind of, well, how's this kid going to turn out too, right? You know, like, and also to go back to Butcher and his motivations, like, is he going to hate this kid? Is he still going to hate, Soups as much as he did before? Now that he's working with some, he's still, he kind of softened on Starlight a little bit. He got to know she really does seem like she's a good one. As he gets to know her, obviously, she cares about Huey and of course Kimiko as well, and how much Frenchie cares about her. So you see a lot more humanity with him, which I really like. And we'll get to Homelander, but like I said, I think there's more humanity in him than there clearly is in Homelander, which, and maybe if it depends on if you guys want to go into him, but
might as well. We're almost wrapping up, so we might as well finish with Homelander, the big one.
Okay, Homelander's gonna go ape shit next.
Boy, is he? They're trying to say like there's maybe a slight fraction, a little glimmer of humanity with him, but I don't.
I mean, I never got that because
not really.
He's a murderer, you know.
I agree. And I'm watching this, and I really like that actor. He's really great. But I'm like, I hate this guy, because like in the books, he's really just like kind of an idiot. He is a bad person, but it's revealed that all the bad stuff that it seems like he does, so it's actually black noir. I hope I didn't. Did you know that, Brian? I hope I didn't know that.
What?
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Okay.
I was sitting. You caught me at the one time I was adjusting my seat and it was making a lot of creaky noise, and I was like, "Dang, this is loud!" So I missed like the 5 seconds of what you said.
Okay, good. Never mind. All right, don't rewatch this. But yeah. So, but when Stormfront is talking about like this is we need to do this for our race, and they're trying to. He's talking to the kid about how the world hates us for the color of our skin, and it's called white genocide. And they cut to Homelander. He's kind of makes this face like, that's even he thinks that's a little too far. Even though he obviously he feels like he's supreme over everyone else. I don't know if the racial part of it really factored in with him. Maybe, but
I would agree. I think I would agree with that. I don't think the race card played with him as much as it did Stormfront. No,
definitely not. Definitely not. No. But yeah, I think just the way he reacted to that, when she said that, he looked kind of like he was kind of taken aback by that.
That's a good point.
And, I don't know, but just he sucks. He's the worst. We need to figure out a way to. I didn't get to talk about the laser baby from season 1. We need to figure out a way. And the reason I say that is because.
He's right there. Laser baby.
There you go.
I don't know why he's in this wallpaper.
Yeah, he's not in the season at all.
Well, I think that is important because clearly, like they keep that baby in a case, like a laser-proof box. So they've got some kind of laser-proof technology. Maybe they'll arm people with shields that are laser-proof or something. Because after what he did to all those VOT troops at the house, like that's all I'm thinking of watching this whole time. Like, who is there to stop this guy? Like, there must be something. Because even Superman has, like, if you hit him hard enough, like you can, he could take a hit, right? But there's clearly they haven't shown anything other than the kid, his son, who pushed him, knocked him over. So I don't know, but I mean, he's horrible. He's like the worst villain I've ever seen in anything. Like I said, the actor's great, but man, it's just. I'm really watching this. Like I can't stand him. Like it's terrible. And here's the crazier thing is that the creator and Gia, I want to hear your thoughts on this next because you've been kind of moderating. I want to hear your actual thoughts.
The creator said that in season 3 that he is going to be turned into a homicidal maniac. That's the term that he used. Which, if he's not already, I don't know what the F they're going for next.
That's the first thing I think of.
Like, what is going to happen next? But if it's going to be stepped up to that kind of point, like season 3 with Homelander is going to be absolutely nuts. But yeah, Gio, I want to hear your thoughts, man, because you haven't talked very much.
No, definitely. I agree with a lot of what you guys said. Homelander will for sure. I mean, because think about it, like what makes him intimidating throughout this whole entire 2 seasons is the fact that he is heavily breathing, showing a lot of restraint, and just like, yeah, we know what happened as far as when he closed the door behind him in the cabin, which was one of the most scariest, uncomfortable sequences. But we didn't actually see. And I think in season 3, we're going to finally see Homelander unleashed. I mean, think about it. The ending is him just jacking off and to the city and just saying, I can do whatever. He's lost it.
Right.
He has lost it, and
Well,
I
and
think,
did you guys hear? Did you guys hear that was supposed to be the final shot of season 1? And,
I heard
no.
you mention that. I think
in Prime Video, they said no, we can't do that. We need a different ending. And then they were like, okay, we need to end with a bang. And the creator was like, well, I have this sitting in the back end. Like, why don't we just use it for season 2? And he sent it to Prime, and they didn't send it back with any notes. So like, let's do it. Perfect.
Interesting. Well,
it's kind of ironic that he couldn't do whatever he wanted the first season, but second season it's so popular now. He can do whatever he wants like that.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna have to do a part 2 of this.
I think
season 2 discussion. Spoiler.
I think maybe a Bartley and Barnes.
There you go.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Because Jacob's got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No, for sure. Real quick, I'm going to go around and each of you give like 30 seconds, general thoughts, what you're looking forward to. But before you do that, I wrote down the top weird moments from this season real quick. I'm just going to name them off. Obviously, Homelander jacking off. That was pretty weird. Poor Mother's Milk having the dick around his throat. That was.
Oh my god!
We didn't talk about the psychiatric hospital at all.
Yeah, that was crazy. Another weird moment: Homelander kissing himself in the dress, or just, he didn't actually. I don't think he actually kissed himself, but when he turned, it was like, oh, ugh. And then obviously the exploding heads in the courtroom. That was just nonstop. I mean, you wonder when is it going to end? Seriously. But real quick, let's go one by one and 30 seconds each. Wrap it up, and you can talk about season 3 if you want. Start with you, Brian.
This show could honestly probably do whatever it wanted, and I would still love it as much as when it started. Like, this show is untouchable. It's just so good. I love it. The characters in it are fantastic, and I'm very curious to see where it goes. Like, I'm in a very much like I don't know what to expect anymore, because like to me this could have been like a series finale type.
It's like a chapter is ended. What the hell's next?
Yeah. So like, I mean, if let's just say the show wasn't successful, you could have ended it this way. So like, for it to be just the season finale, like I'm like, all right, where the hell are you going with this in the future? So I mean, and I'm really, really excited to see Jensen Ackles, and he needs to be in so many more things, and I can only imagine how good. I don't know nothing about his character. I don't want to know anything about his character. All I can tell you is I cannot wait for his character. So Gio, that would probably be the thing I'm most excited for in season 3 is him.
I would echo that. I would say Soldier Boy at this moment in time, because I don't know anything about what's happening or the story from the comics or anything. And so I would say Soldier Boy specifically because he's the sole focus of episode 1, which means he's going to be a big part of it. So I'd echo Brian's thoughts on that. Yeah, season 2 it was exactly what I was hoping for. It was brilliant. It was fun. It was violent. It was entertaining. Like I mentioned up top, it answers the questions that you want from season 1, but also kind of leaving questions out there that you want for continuously, continue to more seasons. That's what I was trying to say. Performances are great. We didn't talk much about like just straight performances, but Karl Urban is fantastic. Anthony Starr is incredible. And the remaining cast as well are all remarkable. They all work so well off of each other. And it's one of a kind. It really is one of a kind. There's nothing like it. And for that reason, I mean, you saw Keith's reaction after us telling us for 2 years for him to watch it. If you have not seen it, and if you've been watching this the whole time, go and watch The Boys.
I'm so happy Keith waited for you. I'm so happy.
It's seriously me too. Honestly, I was prepared to just like I said, you guys go ahead, but I'm glad. So thank you guys again. But love the show. Love the season. Love both seasons. Season 3. You 100% about Soldier Boy, Jensen Ackles with Soldier Boy. Does this mean that Supernatural is finally done, or are they still on like season 19 of that show?
It's season 15 is officially the wrap.
Oh, okay. Maybe he'll be the guy. Well, I don't want to say, but maybe his character is. And I'm not gonna spoil anything about him, but he might be able to stand up to Homelander. Maybe I don't know. But I'm super interested in that. Definitely Huey. I love that Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid is fantastic.
Looks just like his dad, which is incredible. He looks a little bit like his mom too, but he looks just like his dad. It's awesome. Love it. Yeah, it's a great show. Very well cast, well written. Believe it or not, it seems like it's a little more toned down than the books, which is crazy to say. But also they're kind of ramping it up as they go. So
toned down. They were sitting in the middle of a whale. Toned down.
No, I know. Yeah, you should.
I saw the heart beating and everything.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that's like, ew, it's so gross.
And when
that was a weird
Teep's like trying to kiss God.
Well, and Huey's just sitting there. He's like,
yes,
I'm dead. Just leave.
Yeah,
it.
right.
I'm dead.
He wants to lay down in there and die. Like, yo, shit, go get out there, go take a shower. But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, God, go get somebody, get in the shower. Like before you talk about anything, go shower all that off.
Although Huey's shower might not be too good in the whole season, so.
Yes. But I'm curious to see what's going to go on with like the 7 as well, with A-Train as well. What he did. We didn't talk a lot about him either, but
well, so technically there's what, 5 of them right now, right?
well, yeah, because
no Deep and no Stormfront.
No,
Stormfront's there.
Stormfront's
Remember they
still
cleared
alive, but it's
They
just
cleared her at the end.
Well, what is she gonna like? Are they gonna pull a Vader with Stormfront? Like,
right? Yeah, she's lost her limbs, and plus they said she's
Oh,
going to.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of
Starlight.
I was thinking of Starlight.
yeah,
Starlight, yeah.
Stormfront is she
Yeah.
Anakin'd it. She's
Yeah,
Anakin right now.
I heard my brain heard Starlight.
And I love how like clearly, I mean, she's bulletproof, but you can stab her in the eye, I guess. So that's. But
they purposely did not kill her.
right, yeah, exactly.
I also love that she was reciting Nazi verses at the
Yeah, well, that was very
perfect.
Yeah, that was a little bit chilling. And Black Noir too, because they say he's like brain damaged or whatever. So
that's
right.
right.
That's right. Yeah.
From the candy bar.
From the Almond Joy.
out of all the things and all.
I know, right? Like that was hilarious. I was watching that, like, what is she doing?
That's all you need to. If you're going to tell someone to watch The Boys, you can say a superhero is brain dead from eating a candy bar.
From a food allergy.
Yeah.
That's his weakness.
Pretty much.
Nuts.
Yeah. Well, we will have to finish this another time. We got to cut it now, guys. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know your thoughts on The Boys Season 2. Standout moments, favorite moments, what you want to see in Season 3. We definitely enjoy the conversation. So please do interact with us. And I forgot to do a plug, Jake. My bad.
Okay. All good. It's all good.
You guys can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, all those podcast platforms. Please do like, subscribe, and again, interact with us. We enjoy the conversation. Thank you so much again for joining us for The Boys Season 2 spoiler review. My name is Gio. It was an honor hosting. I will hopefully get another gig in the future. I am joined by Jake Berlin, Keith Barnes, and Brian Avalosino. Until next time, catch you guys later.